Good morning. It's the Bet365 Gold Cup handicap chase shortly, and it goes off at 3:40 today, Sandown. I'm just going to have a very quick look at the race, see if we can find some things out. Now, I do apologise if you can hear drilling sounds behind me or it's a bit echoey. I've had to come into a different room today to record this because of building work that's going on. So any noise in the background, I do apologise. But let's get cracking with it, and let's see what we can find. So the first thing is, obviously, we've got 16 runners here, okay? And I'm going to sort by Betfair odds initially, like I always do, and I'm just going to remove these high odds horses. So that takes out the Young Master, it takes out Larry, Doing Fine, and Smooth Stepper. So we're now down to 12 entries, which is a far more manageable number of runners. So just having a quick look at the actual stats here. We've got a chase turf race, class 1, good ground, 3 miles, 4 furlongs, prize money just under 65,000. VDW place scores, race score is 97%. That's really high. So I'm just going to bring that up, and I'm going to sort by VDW score. I'm going to highlight the top 4 because that's what this 97% figure is based on. VDW score top 4. Okay, so I'm just going to do that initially, and then I'm going to get rid of that. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up the PR odds, and I'm going to sort by probabilities, and let's see what we've got here. So we noted that 2 of those are near the top. We've got Enrilo and El Presente sitting near the top. Plan of Attack is up there as well. I'm going to bring that in. And then Kitty's Light, Cross Park kind of a little bit further down. Now, just so we can see how that stands, the other thing that we notice is that Plan of Attack has nearly 30% probability we've given it. And then there's a gap to Enrilo El Presente, who are also quite close to Potterman. And then there's another bit of a gap down to Kitty's Light before another big jump down to Golden Fortune Cross Park. So we just want to store that information in our minds. Okay, I'm going to bring back up here the VDW score. And we'll notice that Plan of Attack is not particularly high. But Enrilo and El Presente are the 2 near the top. They're the 2 strongest. Kitty's Light, Cross Park next down. And there's actually quite a big gap between Enrilo and El Presente. So just, again, trying to get a concept of where the horses stand against each other. If I sort by PR odds alone, we'll see here straight away, Plan of Attack, Enrilo are sitting kind of near the top. And then El Presente, Kitty's Light. Again, this is nice indication that we're kind of focusing on the right horses here. Cross Park coming in a little bit lower. Next thing I'm going to do on this standard race card is I'm just going to run a Monte Carlo simulation. I'm not going to take anything out. I'm going to run it exactly as it stands. Standard race card, nothing custom here. While that runs, I'm just going to have a quick sip of tea. And we're going to wait for those numbers to run, and then we will see what comes next. But while this is running, we can see how it's starting to appear here. And we can kind of see the horses that are starting to come out. Plan of Attack not looking actually so strong. Kitty's Light looking nice and strong. Irish Prophecy and Cross Park seem to have some edge. El Presente as well. Enrilo possibly not so good. It's looking like Kitty's Light, Cross Park, El Presente are going to be there. And we can see this just by the silks moving across to the right. Irish Prophecy possibly going to be pushing in a little bit as well. Okay. Now that's going to be coming up to complete, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to exit out of the simulation, and then I'm going to come back into the simulation and sort by horse. And we can see we've got Kitty's Light, El Presente second, then Irish Prophecy, Cross Park quite close to each other, Enrilo before dropping down, and actually Plan of Attack has come in here. And this is really interesting. So that tells us Plan of Attack, there may be some weakness there. And we've got that indication in a couple of places. We've got that indication from VDW. We've got that indication actually, while our probability was quite high, we've got the indication that the market is saying it should be lower than our probability. If we bring up PR odds, you can see we gave it odds of 3.34, market is 6.2, merged is 4.69. But this is just an indication that maybe we're missing something here, something that we're not sure of is possibly missing. So a question mark over Plan of Attack. El Presente still up with the strongest. Kitty's Light there as well. El Presente, Enrilo a little bit down. So we've got 4 horses here that look good. Irish Prophecy possibly want to consider. Plan of Attack possibly something to be aware of. Coming to the 5278, we've got Kitty's Light, El Presente in the top 4 again, as is Irish Prophecy. So we've got a little bit of something to focus on there, which is kind of really important because it brings Irish Prophecy back into the frame. Crosspock and Reload, Plan of Attack lower down for that particular factor. Days since last good race. Plan of attack 485 days since last good race. This is a concern for me. This would normally wipe the horse out immediately. So I'm just going to deselect it, but I'm going to keep my eye on it in case something else comes back in. In terms of good races in the last 10, you can also see Plan of Attack down here only had 4. Bit of a concern when the others got 6, 7 and 8. But Kitty's Light, El Presente, Irish Prophecy, Enrilo, those are the 4 kind of strongest. Cross Park still coming in there, but looking like it might be more of a placing type runner. But so they're all looking nice and strong from that perspective. PFP. Sorting here, we'll notice that actually most of these horses are sitting in the middle for the PFP here, and that's quite interesting. So I'm going to jump over now to a different race card that has kind of more factors on it, so I can dig into the form a little bit more in a little bit more detail. Okay, and coming over here, we can see straight away, if I sort by PFP again, here we are. So the first thing we can see is the projected class of this race is 1,512, 1512. So actually these horses that are much higher in PFP, Potterman, Cross Park, Plan of Attack, there's always a little bit of a concern for me where a horse's PFP rating is significantly higher than the projected class. Also, when the horse's PFP rating is significantly higher than the PFP rating in its last good race. So you see Potterman has a PFP of 1525, but his last good race was actually 1509. So now we've got that information there. I have a bit of concern over Cross Park and I have a bit of concern over Potterman. Plan of Attack we've already removed. Now the other thing here is that we're looking for that actually puts these 4 horses kind of in the right place, but Cap Denor, Bob Marler kind of coming in as well, but possibly not really strong enough. Okay. Now let's move over a little bit. Okay, and we've got average competitive. We've got 2 average competitive ratings on this particular race card, PFP and Speed Class. And you'll have seen me use this race card a number of times, okay? You'll have seen me use this race card a number of times. So, what are we doing here? Let's have a look on average competitive PFP. And here I am actually using time decay. So the more recent the race, the more it will count towards the rating. Okay, and then Reload coming back to the top, Kitty's Light near the top, El Presente near the top. Supreme Escape, check it out, kind of pushing in there as well a little bit. Irish Prophecy kind of not so strong. If I sort by speed class, we've got Enrilo again near the top, Kitty's Light in the top 3, check it out, Supreme Escape also still up there. So maybe there is something in these 2 runners. Check it out, Supreme Escape. Let's just drop them in for the moment, okay? Plan of Attack back down in the middle, El Presente, Irish Prophecy towards the bottom again. So a little bit of concern there, but nothing to be particularly worried about here. Now, because this is over a very long distance, I'm not going to take too much account of speed, but I am going to have a quick look at average speed on the ground. And when we have long distance races, I really don't want the horses to be the fastest, okay? We want them to be middle to bottom. And actually, that's where most of the horses we've got highlighted are now sitting. We can see that. Potterman, Cross Park, Bob Marler, Captain, they're the ones sitting near the top on ground condition, which is exactly as we wanted. Now, days since last win is a really interesting one, and that's this column over here. Okay, days since last one. And we can see immediately Potterman, Cross Park, Bob Marler, these horses haven't won for a really long time, but actually the horses that we've highlighted, they have all won quite recently. Plan of Attack hasn't won for like 545 days as well, so I would have definitely removed that horse now from contention. Finally, on this race card, I'm going to have a look at the PFP. We've got LR, points for the last race, points for the last 2 races, last 3 races, and last 4 races. And what I'm looking for here is a continuation. And you'll have seen me do this before. If you're new, you'll see me do this again and again. And this is just my own technique. This is how I read form. This is how I interpret the numbers. It's not the only way to interpret the numbers, but it is the way I interpret the numbers. And what I'm looking for here is a gradual improvement. So we'll see initially El Presente, we've got this minus score at the beginning, and then we see this improvement. So that's fine. It's just a bit disappointing that this first one is a minus. In Relo, we've got a general improvement, but 3 races to 4 races, we see a drop. Again, a bit of a shame. Actually, Plan of Attack, it's not in anymore, but we see this gradual improvement. However, Kitty's Light, who keeps appearing at the top here, we see this. Last race 1.75, last 2 races 2.22, last 3 4.27, last 4 races 5.4. This is the smooth line that I'm looking for, this continual improvement. Irish Prophecy bounced around kind of between 3 and 4 races ago. Check It Out, bouncing around all over the place. And in fact, there's not enough in Check It Out for me to want to stick with it. Certainly seeing that. Supreme Escape, again, bouncing around all over the place as a possibility, but it's not going to be, for me, the strongest. So I'm down to El Presente, a little bit of concern, Enrilo, Kitty's Light, and Irish Prophecy. And I particularly am liking now Kitty's Light, Enrilo kind of coming in there, Irish Prophecy, El Presente, possibly just sitting behind. Now, as this is a big race, let's jump into speed graphs next. And we're going to open the speed graphs. And while they're opening, we're just going to have a look here and remind ourselves, Chase Turf, good ground, 3 miles, 4 furlongs. Okay. So this is a big graph. Hang on, I think that's pushed it out of the visible screen, so I'm just going to bring it back in. Hold on. Lots of numbers here. That's why we use the dynamic filter. We're going to do Chase Turf, good ground, and let's just see how many are left when we apply that filter. So I'm not going to apply any more. No, actually, I am going to apply distance. So we're not sure. The distance works in yards. So how do we work out yards? So I come over to Google. I do 3 miles in yards. And Google's immediately going to say 5,280 yards. We can also do this in furlongs. 4 furlongs in yards, 880. So we've got around 6,100 yards roughly for this race. So when I come into distance, I'm going to say, okay, 6,100 yards. Let's say anything from, actually, let's do from 5,820, so around 3 miles, actually 5,800 to 6,250. Okay. Let's just apply that distance in. It's going to give us this long distance that we are looking for. And we've only got doing fine. Okay, we've only got doing fine, which isn't going to tell us anything. Now, if I just take out ground condition, does that give us any more scope? Not really. We've got doing fine and Bob Marler. So that distance isn't really going to help us. So I'm going to put good ground back in, but let's just drop that distance down to 4,000 yards, okay? And we're going to hopefully bring some more horses in now. And this just gives us an idea of horses that are suited to long distance. Now I'm going to zoom in to the most recent races, okay? And then we can zoom out again in a minute. So first thing we notice is they're all pretty tight. That's what we would expect. Potterman dropped off the chart here. I'm going to remove that horse. Actually here, El Presente had a really poor race but came back in. Check It Out. Here, actually not looking so bad. Cap de Nord, not looking so bad, but declining recently. And the 4 horses that we're particularly interested in, and this just tells us it's going to be very competitive, okay? Because most of these horses are sitting here kind of in the middle section. That shows us it's going to be competitive. Okay, so we can see here, these are kind of our horses. There's not much really to distinguish between them. There's no particularly good patterns. We've got Cross Park coming up a little bit. We've got El Presente. Kitty's Light is, where is Kitty's Light? Hang on, down here. There we go. Comes up to here. So again, looking pretty good. So we're not learning much more than we already knew on this occasion from these graphs. Okay. So we're jumping back over to here, and now I'm just going to have a look at pace. Pace predicted to be true, which means we're looking for early pressers, really. Good early presser is the best in these, or a leader. If you're not sure what pace means, you just click on that true pace. It's going to tell you the type of horses you need to look for. But I'm going to hide that now. I'm going to bring up the pace stats. I'm going to sort by total pace. Total pace tells us the likely pace for the horse in the current race. Running style and preferred pace give us an indication of the horse's preferred position from pace in a race. Total pace is the one we actually want to look at. Bob Marler, Check It Out, looking to be the leaders, and Relo possibly coming in there an early presser. So Enrilo giving a little bit of strength here. Mid-pack, we've got El Presente, Kitty's Light, which is, they're possibly sitting behind looking at their scores before a jump down to kind of mid-pack horses, Potterman, Golden Fortune, and then we're coming down possibly to like closing types, Irish Prophecy, and the others. So Kitty's Light, El Presente, possibly best here. Enrilo definitely got a chance of it sitting behind Bob Marler and Check It Out. So again, these three horses looking to be strongest. So I'm going to jump into these three horses, and we're going to look at Irish Prophecy as well, just to confirm how they're likely to perform using like the FMFR technique that we talk about so much. So first of all, we're looking for Chase Turf, good racing, 3 miles 4 furlong, a good ground, I should say, 65k prize money. Okay. So first of all, we scan down for prize money. We see this horse is jumping up in class. We see that immediately. A best race we've got here is a 46k race at Kempton on the 26th of December last year, and the horse was pulled up because it weakened and then got pulled up. Was carrying 11.7, and today is carrying 11.5. Over 3 miles. The horse has got to go 4 furlongs further in this race. On good ground, we've got a race here carrying 11, performed well. Coming back further, we've got 2 miles 3 furlongs, so significantly shorter now, but did win. So there should be no issue on the ground. We've got a jump in class. We've got a jump in distance. We've got a 3 mile race here at lower class that won well. So there's a little bit of concern here over whether this horse is going to have the class in this particular race. Coming to El Presente. Now, if we look at El Presente, first of all, we scan down for any high-class races. And again, nothing like this before. Wincanton Chase, 27k is the highest. And the horse won, just beat Potterman in that race, who came in second, who is obviously racing again today. Was soon ridden 3 lengths down the last and stayed on. So was leading in those races. Race was 3 mile 1 furlong. So distance should be okay. Ground should be okay. El Presente is carrying 11.9 today. So a couple of pounds more shouldn't be too much of an issue. So everything kind of there looks okay. We're not expecting any issues over distance. Class is the only questionable item that we have here. Okay. Now let's jump to Kitty's Light. And Kitty's Light, I'm hoping, is going to look strong. So again, we're seeing a big rise in class. But the thing is all of these horses are seeing a big rise in class. And that's what we were talking about when we were looking at the PFP. And how the projected class is actually lower than the PFP, significantly lower than the PFP scores of some of the horses. And we're starting to see that these horses actually, they're all jumping in class, which makes it less of a consideration for us, less of a concern. Okay. So coming in here, which means that actually El Presente, Enrilo, there was a bit of concern over distance. El Presente, less of that. So that maybe gives El Presente a bit of an edge here so far. Kitty's Light, though, we've got a win in an 18k race. We've got a 27k race at Wolverhampton against El Presente, where this Kitty's Light was beaten by El Presente. And carrying, but only carrying in that race 9.11. Today, Kitty's Light is carrying 10.12, so quite an increase in weight there. El Presente didn't have the same increase in weight, if we remember. Warwick won over 3 miles. So again, we're not expecting issues for this horse over ground. We're not expecting issues over distance. Can this horse beat El Presente, who has already beaten it before, carrying nearly a stone more? That's the question. That's the question we've got here. Also, if we look down this horse's finish positions, we can see third, a few ones, seconds, first. So this horse possibly place potential as well. Let's just jump back quickly. I didn't do that for El Presente. So jumping back to El Presente, we can see here win, win, a couple of places, a win. So actually this horse is far more likely to win than place. And if we do the same for Enrilo very quickly, and we can see here win, place, win. So again, this kind of is a little bit more chance of this horse placing as well as winning. El Presente seems to be a win. Irish Prophecy. Now jumping down to Irish Prophecy, starting with class. Again, this is a lower class even than the others. 12k, 13k kind of being the highest, and this is going back some time now. And even in the 13K was beaten 28 lengths. In the 12K was pulled up. If we're looking at distances, we've got a 3-mile race beaten 1 length by El Presente. Obviously, this horse also beat Kitty's Light. I think that's the same race. I'm not 100% certain on that, but definitely El Presente has beaten this horse. Carrying 10-12, today carrying 11-4, and increasing the distance 3 furlongs. And racing against horses of a better class. Plus being potentially in a closer position, which isn't ideal for the pace we're expecting, gives a little bit of doubt for Irish Prophecy. So what we're looking at here for me is El Presente is looking to be the strongest here. Possibly Kitty's Light and Relo coming in behind with Irish Prophecy a little bit further. Let's jump over to Betfair and take a look at what's going on in the market there. Okay? So jumping over to Betfair here. Relo currently at the top. Plan of Attack, Golden Fortune. Actually, El Presente coming in here at the odds of 13. Kitty's Light coming down here. And we did have some concerns initially. Irish Prophecy down here at 27s. And Relo 5.3. Plan of Attack 6.2. And again, we didn't look at that horse individually, but if we want to just have a quick look at this horse, because we'd already kind of removed this horse from our consideration earlier. Having a quick look though, we've got much higher class racing for this horse, but beaten, pulled up. 110k race back in 2019, pardon me. Horse did okay in. But since then, nothing really shining for it. The last time it actually had a good race was that 110k race in 2019, carrying 10.9 over 3 miles. Today, carrying 11 stone, so not a huge difference, but 4 furlongs more. And I feel that this horse is possibly riding on history, and it wouldn't be one for me. Coming back to the market, we are liking, I think El Presente's odds are pretty good, and Relo possibly a little bit short. Kitty's Light looking pretty good. How can we bet this race? So first of all, if we're focusing on these 3 horses, we could potentially Dutch this race. If I just drop the stake in there, let me just move this over a bit so you can see everything here. Okay, so if we're Dutching in this race, let's say we're doing a £25 stake for argument's sake, and we hit OK across those 3, you can see we're walking away with nearly £50 after commission profit now for £25. So that's a good profit. Okay, that's a 200% profit on stake. We could, of course, change it so that Relo was just was just a break even. So we could pull that right back down there to say just £3 there. So then we're going to be making £60 on El Presente, Kitty's Light if either of those won, and just breaking even on Relo. That's another way of structuring this race for the win market. But let's jump over and have a look at the place market. Okay, now this place market here, obviously 4 to be placed is a standard market in this race. Relo sitting at odds of 2s, which is okay. And El Presente, Kitty's Light, actually 3.25, 3.1, which I think is pretty strong. So looking at those odds, I actually really quite like Kitty's Light, El Presente in this market. We obviously have the 5 place market as well. El Presente 2.46, 2.6, Kitty's Light the same, and we've got the 6 place market. El Presente, Kitty's Light, still actually not too bad, but for me, I think there's only really one way to bet this, and I would be going El Presente, Kitty's Light, and 80-20 bets, which is 80% of the stake in the place market, 20% of the stake in the win market. If we look at that, if I just pull this over so you can see how that would play out, that means for a £25 stake, you'd be placing £20 on £25 stake for each horse. You'd be placing £20 on each of these horses, and you can see if the horse place, we're going to make £45 and £42 in the place market. Okay, so we only need one of them to place for us to actually make a really good profit. We would then place £5 on each in the win market, so we would be staking a total of £50, and if one of them placed, we would be getting back £65. So if one of them placed, we'd be getting back £15. If 2 of them placed, we'd be getting back nearly 90. And if one of them won, we'd be making much more. So that's probably how I personally would structure this bet. Now, before we go, I'm going to have a quick look at the last market here, which is AVB. Nothing matched on this market at the moment, but it's between El Presente and Golden Fortune. Now, I've shown this before, but let's just do it again. Okay, so I'm going to just remove every single horse here except El Presente and Golden. Oh, sorry, I just removed Golden Fortune by mistake, but I'm just eliminating every single horse except these two. Let's bring Golden Fortune back in. I'm going to run the Monte Carlo. Now, I'm just going to leave it on this race card that I'm on, but you can do this on the standard. You can do it on any of your own, whichever you want. So I'm just going to run that simulation there just on these two. And let's just see how they go, how they stack. And it's interesting to watch this because I've shown this before, but there's no harm having another look. And we can see here, as this runs, El Presente, we're expecting El Presente to be ahead of Golden Fortune, so that's kind of what we already know. What we're looking at now is for the odds, and at the moment the odds are on the far left here, and these odds are just based purely on the Monte Carlo simulation, nothing else, they're just based on the Monte Carlo simulation. And what we're seeing here is that between these two horses, it looks like El Presente is going to be odds of around 1.68, Golden Fortune is going to be odds of around 2.64. That means that when this market starts to frame itself, when we start to get some money coming into the AVB market, we can see if there's an opportunity to gather some advantage here as well. We also, from our analysis, expect El Presente to beat Golden Fortune. So we use this combined knowledge to see if we can get an edge on the market. So we can see here we're expecting El Presente to have odds of around 1.65 and Golden Fortune 2.56 in the AVB market. When this market starts to get some money coming in, when people start to be putting some money out here, we can see if we can either grab advantage by backing El Presente or by laying Golden Fortune. Either way. And this is quite a nice market to use. We can also, there is no money here, so we could also actually just go in here if we wanted to and offer odds, ridiculously high odds of like 2.5. We know if we just dropped in odds of 2.5 here, we know we've got an advantage here. Okay, we know we've got an advantage. Well, whether El Presente wins or not, if someone took our fiver on 2.5, we've got an advantage here all the way. You could put more in, like 50, but you probably wouldn't get it matched at this point, particularly if you're shooting for super high odds. So it's better to go for smaller levels, see if it gets matched, drip a bit more in, drip a bit more in, if you want to take that approach. So that's how I'm going to focus on it. I'm going to keep an eye on the AVB market. I'm going to be going Kitty's Light, El Presente 80-20 market. Let me know what you're doing. Leave a comment below this video, and I'll look forward to seeing who you're going to be following in the Bet365 Gold Cup today. Thank you for watching. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.